Okay. So one thing as we meet in this online Dharma hall, one way to maintain the connection is to be connected to your body as you listen. Connect to the body. Somehow this helps to also then connect to the online community here. And as you do that, we just take a moment to acknowledge the land that we gather on here today. It's like a bit of gratitude for the ancestors and custodians from present time going back. The ancestors of the land. Just acknowledging the path that our ancestors have trod and the legacy that is the reality of what we live now, today. Acknowledging the gifts that we've received, perhaps some of the wounds that are being passed down as well. And just making a little commitment in whatever way works for you to so that those intergenerational wounds stop with us. We don't pass them on from here. We turn to face that momentum of that pain. Invite and open to healing within us. And opening to gratitude for the land, for the air we breathe. Here in Australia in particular, very clean compared to many places. Feeling the gratitude for that clean air that we rely on. Without it, we wouldn't last very long at all. The reciprocal nature, the air we breathe in coming from trees, the plants, breathing out, the circular motion of this life that we live in. The water, the clean water that we drink, that we need, again, that we wouldn't survive without, that we're dependent on from nature. Just acknowledging that, the importance of that. The plants that we eat, the roots, plants above the ground nourish us. Acknowledging all the animals and brothers and sisters in the animal world. Just all the other types of animals and insects and countless types, so many. Marine animals, land animals. And the fire that we need from the sun to heat ourselves. And that gratitude for that part in our life. Warms our bodies and clears out the old for new to come. Feeling how dependent we are on all of these things. It's interdependence. Not a standalone entity. We're entirely dependent. Other people grow our food generally, supply our water. The air, warmth, our shelter. In the same way, then when we come to Dharma practice, to meditation practice, it can be really good to notice the interdependence of things. And these teachings come down from thousands of years of care and attention. That we're the recipient of that now. We're the ones who receive that now. The people who have cared enough to keep this tradition going. The people who have dedicated their lives to it, continue to. Dedicating their lives to goodness. It's all can be like now when we come in, we really feel that. You feel that goodness. It can touch like a deep longing in us, a deep longing. But then in our enthusiasm with that, we forget that we actually bring all our old habits of relating to life with us. And we can crave for the highs of the practice that we've read about, that we've heard about. It's like incredible experiences that are part of the mythology. You can get sort of idealistic about things sometimes. It's a natural part of the process. We can forget that it's not just about me, that it's actually about waking up within my family, within my community, within my friendship circles, my work. We might touch on those highs, possibly. We stick with it enough. You know. Sometimes people just get it really quickly, some don't. But we can get sort of stuck on these highs. This idea of that this is what the practice is about. This is, if I stay with this long enough, it'll always be like this. And they all lived happily ever after, kind of thing. And then at some point it starts to dawn that no matter how much I practice, or how many retreats I do, there's always a little come down afterwards. And we start to sort of possibly some of our illusions start to drop away about spiritual practice. It's kind of like the next phase in a way after the honeymoon period. It's a bit like relationship, right? Might last for a year or two, but then our illusions start to drop away. And as Havel Hendricks says about relationship, once we actually start to see our partner for who they are, that doesn't mean that we've made a mistake. It's kind of like when the practice begins at this point. We realize that we need to look at our habits and our patterns and our capabilities with a new level of honesty, a new level of transparency. To admit our faults, to admit the ways we might hurt ourselves and hurt others, to move into humbleness in a new way. Because we also start to see the teachers have many faults as well. Yeah. But we also, as we said in that invocation there before, we start to acknowledge the wounds that have come with us, the psychological wounds, the wounds of the heart. And we realize that we can't bypass them. We have to turn towards them. And that our past somehow is always coming into the present through our memories, our thoughts, our feelings, sensations, oftentimes. Perhaps there's traumas there to deal with, unresolved pain, conversations that have been too hard to have. And to turn away at this point is to turn away from a great opportunity. I think it was John Wellwood coined the phrase spiritual bypassing. We can get to that phase and then sort of get very philosophical about things, very conceptual, very rational about a spiritual path, just wanting the bliss in a way. At some point, we realize that with the bliss is the other side as well. The not very blissful feelings in the body at times. And that sickness, aging, death, all these things are part of life still. It's a natural part. And in fact, all is well in a way with these things happening, because that's just what life does. It's just what life does. So at this stage, we have to turn towards our shadow, those things that we don't want to address. Our tightness, our controlling parts, the ways we deny things and pretend they're not there. This gift of this part is powerful. It's like where we have to really, really commit. Really commit. You know, and the third phase, as I think it was Trungpa sort of came up with these sort of ideas, and I've followed through with. At this point, we start to see the Buddha's teachings in a different way. And doubt starts to fall away. Because we're not approaching, we're not just taking the teachings in and going on blind faith. We're actually experiencing them. We're sensing them. We're acknowledging that reality of these teachings in the present moment, in how we sense, feel, hear. Seeing anicca, constant change, life is changing. That who we are and who we think we are is a kind of different thing, that there's no one thing that we can place and say, that's me, that's who I am. Because we're made up of all these lots of different things. And that to hold on to that sense of self is the very core of our suffering, the very core of our fantasy, almost, that there may be a happily ever after as far as the body goes. The freedom is understanding these things. Anicca, anatta, dukkha. We're not immortal, we age. And stepping into these things, then we allow space then for a vibrancy of how we meet life, a vibrancy of how we can engage with others. So there's then a deep appreciation of the preciousness of what we have. It can be gone any minute. I told the story a couple of Sundays ago of how, to finish up shortly, that my sister and her partner sort of got up in the morning a couple of weeks ago, and Rue was his name, just started coughing, a little bit worse, went blue in the face, collapsed, and died. Just like that, or within a few minutes from being, it seemed like, okay, it's a big heart attack. The paramedics couldn't help, and 60 years old. We buried him not quite 2 weeks ago now. So always these things touch so deeply, that realize that it could be me next time. It could be me. So it's a big call to appreciate this preciousness of life and make a stand for what is important for you. Because it's like there's nothing to lose. Nothing. Because it's all about then how we engage with life is its own reward or otherwise. So I think we have to finish up. Tammy, go. Over you. You ready to go, Tammy?
I am. I was just